welcome to another edition of our little Storm chat that we got going during this lockdown, during day, God knows what day it is at the moment. Ryan, you're back in the bedroom, another different room for me as well. I've been moved up to the bedroom. How are you doing?
Yeah. Whenever we do these around dinner time, I gotta vacate the kitchen area, so I'm in the bedroom now.
And
it's too windy to go outside.
Yeah, it is a little bit windy up here at the moment, but it doesn't appear to be windy down south, I'm assuming. Peter Russell, Pete, thanks for joining us. It looks like you've got the better location there.
Yeah, it's a little bit windy, but out the back garden here with the fences, it kind of covers it up a little bit. Hopefully it lasts for the next little part. But, the weather's beautiful just now, yeah, for sure. I need to get all the sun I can find. Small dailies.
You're a bit like me, though. You've got to be careful, though. Slip, slap, slop.
Yeah, I definitely go red before I go any shade of brown, if I even do. But, you know, nothing red's okay. Sometimes I can see in your face today.
It's a shades of red right now.
It's a bit of a vocational.
Why's your face so red? You've been running or something?
Yeah, I had a run this morning. I'm still not quite over it yet. I did find that there is an option on this that you can do the Snapchat filter thing and gives you gets rid of the blemishes on your face, but I'm not going to go that far, I don't think.
Nah, it's a nice tan you've got.
Thank you very much. Peter, I mean, you must be going spare like us all at the moment. You're able to keep your days filled, though. What have you been up to?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit easier for me because, you know, you come home and you've been away. It's good to come home again. So, yeah, I've been enjoying that. And then just little things, doing a lot of webinars and stuff and trying to educate myself a little bit. I dipped my toe into a little bit of German this week as well to see if I can maybe use this time to try and learn a little bit of German. It's a pretty tough language to learn. So yeah, I'm fine with it. This is Ryan will tell you he's got two hats, a GM hat, you know, and a coaching hat. It's different for him. But the summer does really involve a lot of sitting around and using the phone and stuff. So it's not a massive change. Just miss seeing, maybe I haven't seen my parents yet or anything like that, and my sister. So it'd be nice to go back home to Scotland. We've not been able to do that, and also see the family down here. We can't see them either. So you're just kind of stuck on your own. But you know, I'm stuck with two great people, my daughter and my wife. So it's fine. I enjoy it.
Nice to catch up. Ryan, you not fancy using this break to try and learn some English?
I don't even have a comeback.
We thought it'd be great to get you on, Pete, just to pick your brains over a lot of stuff. You've been there, you've done it, you've been around it. One of the things I completely forgot about, actually, until it was brought up by Steve Olcock today on Twitter, was your involvement with the first year Storm. You helped Omar Pasha and get the Storm back on the ice.
Yeah, well, I was working for Mike Petrus and Mark Johnson then at Planet Ice, and I became the Milton Keynes coach, and I also was their director of hockey. So when they took the Storm name back, and then they were going to put the team in Altrincham, yeah, I was doing quite a bit of it at the start. You know, trying to help them get, you know, Neil Russell come in, and tried to got Neil, Omar come in, and just support them wherever we could. But at first there was no one. It was just Mark. You know, I think John Neville was helping a little bit, but Mark Johnson was doing a lot. You know, then so I was helping with that a little bit at the time, and it was, you know, it was quite exciting at the time. You know, because I remember the Manchester Storm and the old rink and the big rink, and you know, powerhouse at the time. You know, and I always wondered how that would be. You know, the people thinking about, is it going to be the same as it was before? And I think they had to reinvent it a little bit of a different way. But I think they did, and I think you guys have took it forward even further. And I watched from afar, and you can, you know, I'm not just saying it because Ryan's there. He has done a great job. You know, it's you know, in that league, budgets are tough. You know, it's tight, and what he's done is he's built a team to suit that ice rink, and he's good at that. And you know, his first year was great. And then I stole half his team and took it to Glasgow, and then it was tougher for him after that.
It didn't go unnoticed, I don't think, Pete.
They were good players. He signed good players from Glasgow, and I stole them back. But I think what Ryan's Ryan created there. You know, and Omar and Neil done an amazing job because they took it from scratch, and that's the hardest thing in the world, to take something from scratch. And they worked themselves to the ground, and you know, Mike Petrus and Mark backed it to the hill financially, and then it became the point. They thought it'd be better to have somebody else running it, and Ryan went in, and he straight away put his identity on it, and I think it was a great identity. They were that first year especially. They were a pretty tough team, but they played good hockey as well. So you know, there was a good mix.
Was there any danger in those early days that you were going to be a bit more involved? Perhaps, you know, the coaching role, or Omar got involved?
That was never ever going to happen. There was no way it was going to happen. Milton Keynes was a brilliant job for me. We love Milton Keynes as a family. The fans were amazing there. Where that club was growing massively at the time. I was loving every minute. Great rink, you know. There was no reason for me, but it was nice to be involved in that side of things, you know, to try and help a little bit wherever I could. And I think for me, it was just in the summer really, and then refocusing back onto my own job after that.
If you wouldn't mind, Pete, I wouldn't mind just going. You know, I like to do these things chronologically, and maybe start looking at your early days. I mean, you're a goalie back in the day. I mean, I don't mean this any disrespect, but you've had a much more successful career as a coach than you ever were as a goalie. But how did that experience help with taking the step to that side of things?
I think it was when I played. People say it, I was really good when I was young. I was straight into a pro team when I was 15 years old and everything. But then I didn't make good choices. You know, it was terrible choices, lifestyle, and I didn't want to. I had no mentality to be a hockey player and put enough into it. I was more interested in mucking around and going drinking and other things, you know, and probably that came back to bite me. I never improved, and then I hung around a little while because I was probably a pretty good teammate. I was fun to be around, I think. Coaching wise, I was probably the last person in the world that anybody thought would be a coach. And then really the coaching thing came from Paul Heavey, to be honest. I was skating each day with the Scottish Eagles in the Super League with some injuries, and I was bumming around there, and then they asked me to coach a few junior practices to help. There was some never turned up, and I was working a little bit in the rink, and I said, yeah, okay, but I didn't want to do it. I had no interest. But then I knew before I went and done it, I kind of downloaded some stuff, and I put in a practice plan. I didn't know what I was doing, so I just read it, and I worked off of there. And it went on. They asked me to do a bit more, and I just kept stealing to make things look good. And then Paul Heavey took me aside and said, you should try and get into coaching. I think you could be good at this. And I was like, I don't want to be a coach. And he was like, I think you should try it. Then I started really enjoying it. And I think I just realised maybe all the mistakes I made that I could help other people not make. But even at that time, I still wasn't. I still had to grow up a lot as a coach at that time as a person. And so I was really lucky to get the opportunities I got at that time.
Both yourself and Ryan seem to take a lot of pride in player development and bringing through the younger kids. Is it frustrating when you see players making mistakes that you previously made? I mean, I know Ryan's seen it a few times, perhaps. The mentality of that professional hockey player, you have to be committed from a young age. You have to make those right decisions. You have to stay off the beer. You can't party, etc.
Yeah, because you didn't have that information when I was a kid. You know, I don't know if Ryan was any different. Probably to say it, there wasn't real. Now there's so much information, so much guidance, and like you read everything they can see, the internet, they should know. I think the biggest thing that frustrates me now is just an entitlement that they should play, and I think they should learn the hard way, the way probably Ryan did, to work through getting kicked off teams, getting sat in the stands, getting benched, having to work for his spot. You know, in the UK it's tough because the best kids play all the time when they're younger and they don't have any real experience. But that's not saying they're not. I think the types. I mean, some fantastic players come through the GP team that I've had. Like even the junior GP teams, amazing players. But there could have been more, I think.
Ryan, have you got anything to add there? Perhaps the development of British players.
I think it's a lot easier to get them when they're young. You know, they haven't. You know, it's a little tougher to get them when they're a bit older. Maybe they've been playing in the EPL or whatnot. I find those guys almost get not stuck in that league, but they get real comfortable. They get paid pretty well. They got a good work-life balance, and it's tough to remove them and put them into what we do, which is full-time hockey. So I think it's a lot easier to get these kids now when they're young, and I find now the young kids are pretty eager to learn. You know, you look at Finley Ulrich and Jake this year. You know, there wasn't a lot of complaints. They were happy to get the ice time when they got it. You know, and as a coach, you want to get those guys out there more, and it's frustrating. It was frustrating this year. Sometimes we didn't get the kids out as much as we wanted to because of the game. But I think I'm starting to see these young 18, 19 kids, 20-year-old kids. I feel like they got a pretty good head on their shoulders, whether it's through parental education or just maybe coming up in the new age, seeing, you know, the avenues that they can go, especially with GB going to the Pool A. I think has inspired a lot of these kids, and this league's forever, you know, paying more money and developing more. And now we're starting to move more education packages to our British kids, which is something we're looking to do next year. And because I think that's pretty important. We don't want kids that are just playing hockey. We want to make sure that they're getting educated so they can at least walk out of this game with something behind them.
Pete, you have the unique opportunity of having that experience of coaching in the EPO as well as in the Elite League, and you also have, you know, the hat that you wear for GB. I mean, what's that fine balance for players getting that ice time? You know, how do we bridge that subject? How do we get players who get the ice time but also have the professionality of the Elite League hockey?
I think the jump was big. It's bigger now for sure, but I think a lot of players made the jump. I think it was just, maybe entitlement's the wrong word. It was just they expected kind of just to be able to play the same way straight away, and it's hard to do that. You got to work your way in because you're playing against bigger and stronger people as well, and there's more structure. You know, so that creates less time and speed, so you have to think quicker. I was really lucky. Like in Swindon, we had some real good players that went on to play then, and Bracknell had a mass experienced team that had won a lot of things. I was lucky to go there for them. Slough, we took a lot of those guys to Slough and they won. And then in Milton Keynes, we had some great Brits, you know, like Hook and County were there. Chamberlain was a great player. They were three of the best under-20 national team players at the time. And then we had experienced Brits that are still there, Adam Carr, Jameson. I could go on with a stack of Brits. But the thing was, and the hardest thing is, they made good money in that league, those guys. And a lot of the teams did, and they deserved it. They were training 3-4 days a week, and they were working as well. But maybe the urge to go up wasn't just there for the older guys. Like Ryan's kind of, maybe it just wasn't there. It's not to say they couldn't play. Like, I mean, there was some of those names there. Michael Farn as well. Lewis Christie, they could all play hockey, like really play hockey. They were good players.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking through like your time at Swindon, and a few net players that jumped off the roster to me. You know, there was Kieran Long, there was Matty Davis, there was Ben Davies. And, you know, all three of those players made the step up, but at some point or still are playing in the Elite League.
Kieran was playing for me at 15 years old, Swindon. You know, like, and he was good. We threw him in there because he was good. You know, he could play. He was the same size he is just now, and the league was great for the players. It's a really, you know, I think as entitlement again is the wrong word. They have to be patient when they go up. It's not just going to happen for them straight away. The hardest thing, and I think maybe Ryan disagrees or agrees, is for any players to go to the highest level in their country and be consistent. You know, that separates the top players from the good players, or the guys that have the talent to be there. The guys that can consistently do it, they're the top players. You know, and that's the hardest thing to find, I think, as a player.
That Swindon job was, I think,
Ryan
right.
Thinks of that. You know.
Yeah. Do you want to jump in, Ryan?
No, I mean, I 100% agree. And, you know, going back to the British thing, it's you know, like you said, these kids are making good money. We've had Bonner and Chamberlain up with us, and they're two kids that could easily play at this level.
Yeah, easy.
You know, easily. But we probably can't and wouldn't pay them, especially right off the hop, as much as what they're getting now. You know, so when you look at it, they're going to get less ice time, less money for an opportunity to eventually maybe make as much money as what we just pulled them from, you know, with being a full-time player. And, you know, they wouldn't be they wouldn't be able to get the hours at work, and they'd be, you know, mandated to spend much more time just being a hockey player. So I think when you get a little older and you start worrying about finances, it's a little tough for these guys to make that jump, which just kind of brings me back to getting them young. And, you know, we're moving more along grabbing younger guys and trying to move them more along the education route, you know, making them go to school and almost mandating that they have to have something outside of the game. We just can't have a 19-year-old playing hockey and doing something else. So that's been a kind of our MO here the last couple of years, and now we're starting to get some leeway with the university and whatnot to do that. So, but at the same time, it you know, there's some really, really good players that never played in the elite league. Really, really good Brits that just, you know, played in the EPL, and especially in the EPL back in the day when it was really booming. It's starting to get back there now. It's starting to turn into pretty good hockey as well.
Pete, I mean, how much pride do you take from that developing a player and being able to see them go on to the higher standards?
Yeah, I think you enjoy that, but, you know, listen, coaches are always to blame when something doesn't go right, and then, you know, and players do well, the player gets all the praise, and they deserve that because they've done it. But as personally as a coach, I just think you have to be fair to people, good or bad. Especially when they're younger, you have to be really, you know, I think last year was really good for me because I'd strive to try and have some younger players again and really and play them. And I'd done it all year, and see when you've seen them, how responsive they became. That's what made our team better. We were only better because the younger players got better. That's why we got stronger. Luke Pither was always one of the top players in the league. Cam Spiro, Nick Pajou, Ben Meisner, the goalie, you know, Scott, they're all top players. But these young guys, when you see them getting better, it's great. And I still love watching it in the elite league. Like, I still think there's a few sleepers in there. They just have to find their way, you know. And it's again a consistency thing. And the best name in the last 5 years for me with consistency, who's stuck at it, is Luke Ferrara. It's I think he's as the wind's back, so it didn't protect me from that from the thing there. But Luke Ferrara for me is perfect. In the EPL, he was really good. He could score goals. He was always had that. He could do other things. He worked hard. He went to Sheffield. It didn't quite work. He never gave up on it. He went to Coventry. He worked his way up the lineup. And then he just had a career year, and he never stopped. Do you know what I mean? And I think it shows everybody that it can be done, but you've got to go with the process. And for me, Luke, you know, and Luke is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And I've not picked him at times for the national team, and it's the hardest thing ever because he comes and gives everything. And I have picked him, and then maybe he's not as much ice as he wanted, but he never complained. Then he got the ice, and for me, I loved last year watching Luke Ferrara. I thought it was just amazing to see it all come together for him. I was so happy for him as well. I think that's, even from the outside, watching any young player, and Finner's probably the same, when you see a young guy doing well, every coach talks about him, or even an older guy doing well that's come through a process, every coach is happy for them. Even if you've not brought them through, they're still happy for the guy, you know, because it's great to see that. Yeah,
that's something that's always struck me when myself and Finner have spoken. You know, we had the situation where Finner brought, you know, Kieran Long into the elite league for the Manchester. I think he'd asked a few times beforehand, but then, you know, he moves on to Belfast. I mean, that must be frustrating. But the amount of times you said it, Ryan, that players are in this to you know, they are there to get better and make more money at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Longer situation, we were just upset because we wanted Longer back, you know, but I get a pay raise, you have a good year, you know. I always felt that, you know, money aside, I always kind of felt like it might be a tougher situation for him because he went from playing with Mike Hammond in every situation from PK to power play to 5-on-3 here. And, you know, Belfast were our deeper team. You know, and so it'll be interesting with there was a lot of rumors of Ferreira getting potentially shipped around. I think Cardiff were in the mix, or I don't know, wherever. If Luke had moved on to, you know, a Cardiff, you know, what kind of year would he have after last year? You know, it could be the same situation with Longer. So I think him going back to Coventry where he's comfortable, and, you know, he could then progress and be a consistent 25, 30 goal guy a year. I hope not. I hope not, for our sake. But But yeah, I agree. I mean, he's a kid that I think they moved him out of Sheffield to make way for Liam Kirk.
That's
I
right.
think, if I remember correctly. I think
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they just too many bodies, I think, at that time. But
Yeah.
it
was Big G
I think it's
that
just
loved him.
great to see that. There's happened to a lot of players. That's just an example of, I just think any guy that does well, you're happy for. I think as a coach, you should be. That's part of it, to watch other players and see what's around you. I think that's important.
Pete, let's jump ahead to that experience that you had with MK. I mean, you went in there, you signed off with the playoff victory. What a way to leave that league. And then your first dabble in the Elite League. I mean, how was that?
Yeah, it was a transition. The first years there were just amazing. Like MK's a really family-driven club with their fans. Maybe the same as Manchester. I guess you get to know people, because there's a bar in the rink and stuff. I think the Elite League's experience started good. We were pretty good for the first few months. I think a big thing there, firstly, was just luck of injuries, and we never had any depth. And once we get injuries, and it just became hard. We played short. All the other stuff I've never talked about and never will. Do you know what I mean? I think that's best buried. Doesn't matter to me. The only thing was, everything happens for a reason. And MK was really, after Okanagan, Okanagan was amazing for me. That redeveloped me as a person as well. And I grew up at Okanagan. I stopped, behaved better off the ice. I was, a lot better person, matured more. Then to go to MK and be able to use that was great. I loved MK. I loved every player that played there. I thought it was a brilliant, really, really great experience. That's one place I'd love to go back one day. I had a great time there. It was a great place to live. The players were just good people. Everybody was good around the club. The elite experience, I loved it. I loved the challenge of it. We were in some games. We were a good Saturday night team. And then on a Sunday night came, we just didn't have the bodies. And by the end, it wasn't there. They had no money to back it. And, God bless them. They never put they tried everything they could. If I was in Moody's, good luck to them taking on a hockey team. I wouldn't take on a hockey team. Anybody that owns a hockey team is a big gamble. They have to put a lot of money in, and no one realises that. It's not football. I wouldn't say I'm bad about them. I've nothing to say about them. It ended the way it did, which is fine. It ended quick. I stayed to the end of the year, and I was the utmost behaved and professional person. I was done as I was asked. And then, I left, and people were surprised, but it didn't matter, because I ended up getting a job that probably I always wanted to do, at least for 1 year, 2 years, or whatever. I wanted to coach in Glasgow at some point, because I was basically born close to there, and my family was there. So that experience was definitely good for me to make me a better coach and to learn about the Elite League and what it actually is.
I was, noticing. I always felt that you structured your sides quite similar to Finner. I mean, you like to have a nice bit of grit. I mean, we had some real battles, whether it was Storm up against MK or if it was Storm against Glasgow Clan. Some real good games. Yeah,
Finner's got his way of doing things, and I like the mix of the toughness he likes and the skill. Of course, the toughness has to be able to play, and he was pretty good at getting the guys. He managed to scout some good guys, they could all play. Who was the guy the first year? Rosie. He could skate as good as anybody. He was flying around out there, he could play, and then he found Springer. I had Matt Nickerson. I thought Nick, man, a great teammate, amazing guy. Stick up for his teammates, but he could play, and I think that side things that they have to be able to play. And then Josh Granton was the same. He could play, he could score goals, and I think the way we both teams play with structure, maybe a little bit different. I like to play pretty fast and aggressive if I can, and Ryan does that in the smaller ring, but he likes to trap in the road a lot. Do you know what I mean? And but it works for him. They're the compact team, and they play around a good goalie. And I think that's the one thing he's got in Manchester just now. I don't know if that guy's coming back or not. Maybe, I don't really know, but he's good at Gin. He's as good as anyone. And if I think that side of things makes a big difference. I think for me, I think he's done pretty well to keep that guy and build around him each time.
Brian, is he coming back?
We'll see. It's a crazy world right now.
It really is. You mentioned it there beforehand about the to and fro of the players between Glasgow and Manchester. I mean, what was that down to, Ryan? Was that just because, you know, hockey's a small world, same agents?
Well, I mean, it was pretty easy pickings the first year because they didn't have a coach for 4 months. So I think, you know, even the guys because Glasgow's a great place to play and players love playing there and they get treated real well. But I think there was a lot of uncertainty around and we were kind of shark and we were moving fast and we wanted to come to Manchester and put a team on the ice that, you know, with a purpose. And yeah, once we kind of got one, we got two and obviously I had the advantage of coaching all those guys the year before. So I wasn't really going through agents. I was just picking up the phone, you know, it was fairly easy transition. And then, it was just one of those years we always talk about that things just kind of worked in and fell into place. We didn't have any injuries. You know, it just worked. It was just a fun team to work with and be around. And of course we complemented it with, you know, Dallas and Clemente and Swindlehurst. And, you know, we didn't have a whole lot of Manchester guys from the previous year, but I thought we did a good job retaining the ones that we wanted. And then Pete came in and stole them all back. You know, so it was just, one-way traffic and whatever it was 17. And then they all went back and so that's just the way it goes. And it was a little bit, it was pretty funny at the end. I remember hearing stuff like I couldn't believe it. Like, you signed him too? When we got them too? You know, a couple we knew were going. I knew Pitty was going back. I knew Pitty was going back from the day he arrived in Manchester. He's kind of a Glasgow kind of, that's where he likes to be. He's real comfortable there. You know, and we obviously brought him in from Slovakia. And I always knew it was going to be for that season for Pitty. But yeah, no, it was you know, and then the second year we just kind of almost had like a sophomore slump. Just nothing really. Everything that went well the first year, nothing went well the second year.
Your single season that you had at Glasgow, I mean, you had a great year. You finished fourth, and then you signed a contract, and then bolt out the blue, you're off to Germany. I mean, how did that come about?
Oh, it's just, it was an agent, and I think the year before something was there a little bit, and then you know, like at that time, you know, this is fun. I had a buyout in my contract, and I wasn't, and I really, my wife had just been diagnosed with breast cancer, and Freiberg 1 had the best cancer hospital in Germany. So I knew they told me if we could get your wife an insurance, blah, blah, blah. So that was one thing. The second thing was it was really tough because I always wanted to try and, like, as a British coach in a North American game, you're always trying to prove yourself. Right? And even at home, I'm always trying to prove myself. And I always try to do the best I can be for me and my family, and to try and be a good coach if I can be, and a good person. I've tried to be like that and be honest. But this came up, and I remember saying to my wife, I said I'd go back because I really, really like Neil Black. Like, I really respect it. It's horrible because Neil was amazing to me and his family, and I felt as if I'd wee bit cheated them in a way, to be honest. And Gareth was good to me, Jerry was good. The fans were unbelievable. And this all just came about. So when it came about, it was a Sunday, the playoff weekend. And it was legit then, and they offered me way more money than they were. Not way more, but more money. And I just thought, I spoke to my wife, and her exact was, well, you know what? We only live once, so why don't you just try it? She goes, it might never come again. And when she said that, the situation she was in, she thought that, and I thought, she said, you've always wanted to go abroad, so I wanted to try it. So I went and tried it. It went okay, didn't it? You know, and it was, I think it was one of the best things I've done. Do you know what I mean? It's going to Glasgow was 100% one of the best things I've ever done. I've been so lucky. Coaching Milton Keynes was one of the best things I've ever done. Worked for Mike Petruis as well. There's another man I really like. Coaching at Okanagan was one of the best things I've ever done. Working for Steve Nell, love him to bits, great guy. That was great as well, Okanagan. And the German thing was just at the right time. I got lucky, I think, a little bit last year, but I think you sometimes make your own luck. Ryan will tell you that. When I think the German thing was fantastic. It just opened my eyes to what my strengths are. And when I come back to the UK at some point, because I will, and I go, somebody wants me. That's the other thing. I need to get a job if I come back. Not this year, but I will stick to my beliefs and what I believe in, and I'll gamble like I did there. I stuck by what I believe in, and people were like, "Wow, that's a young team," and it was so much fun. Like even Ryan said to me how much fun he had last year with the young team coaching last year. He said he really enjoyed it, and because it does, you really see them coming on. And Germany as a country was amazing, totally different place to coach in. You can't understand what anyone's saying, so you don't know if they're saying anything bad about you. That's a good thing, all right? So that's the first good thing. You can't read Twitter or anything, so it's great. But hockey-wise,
not much different than Scotland, then.
I was going to say, you've been to Coddy.
Yeah. But you know, and the thing over there is you just turn up and everything's done. You know, the league is. I think the Elite League's better than the DL2 as a standard. That's the first thing. It's heavier and it's deeper. I think the DL2 is fast. But I just really love being how many Germans play in it. I think it's smart. You know, it's one of the best second leagues in Europe, especially outside of Svensken. And I think it's really good standard of hockey. And, you know, when you have 7 or 8 of the guys are 24 and under in a hockey team, it's good to come to work every day because they're excited usually, you know, and it's funny, you just see the excitement in them and the enthusiasm. It just picks everybody else up. Because when Brett Balmer came, I asked him, I said, "You enjoying it?" He said, "It's brilliant." So what? He goes, I never knew about this, if this would be like this. He goes, "I love how hard they all work." And he was amazed by it. Like, these young guys are flying around everywhere. And, you know, I think the bigger squads over there, but the experience at the games, just different. Like, except the World Championships, I'd never coached outside the country. And I think that was a massive thing to go there. And I think it made me a better coach. I really do. I think it's made me really believe in myself, not cocky, but believe that I'm an okay coach and I should believe in what I can do and I should stop ever. I'm bad for second guessing myself and try to keep everybody happy. And you know, because I want people to be happy. People don't see that because they see this kind of blonde, strawberry blonde, we'll say, red-faced Scotsman with emotion on the bench. You know, it's the same as Ryan's emotional on the bench, and I like that. I think it's cool, man. Do you know what I mean? That's probably why we get on now, because he's more like me. He thinks he is. Than he thought he was. Do you know what I mean? And
I always said this to Tomo originally, but you guys have a way bigger hurdle than I do, or my Canadian or American counterparts, because of our accents. You know, like, I think you guys have a lot more to prove because you're Scottish and Paul Thompson's English, and that doesn't exactly equate a great hockey mind, you know, to North Americans, to Swedish, to Germans all over. It's the same as if back home in Canada, if I'm talking to somebody talking to me about soccer, football, and he's from Lethbridge, Alberta, and standing next to him is a guy from, you know, London, and he's talking with his accent, I'm just gonna tune this guy out. I'm gonna focus on this guy just because, you know, I associate football in England.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so I think you guys have that other hurdle to overcome, which is just true. It is true. Just the mindset of hockey players around the world, especially today, with everybody, how they all got their own opinions. There is respect, but there's a little bit more. They're kind of testing you out as much as you're testing your players out. These new guys, the young guys here. You know,
Pete,
you gotta have a purpose.
I've not more brought up GB too much on purpose, because we've all heard you speak about that before. We all I'm more interested to delve into Pete Russell, you know, the coach. But do you think that GB affects, you know, the success that you have had with that side has opened up the eyes on the continent and made that move possible, not just for you but for other players that have gone over and coaches?
100%. I know the first time I went to every rink in Germany, they were like, "Oh, Britannia, that was amazing," you know, and they're all saying it, and you're like, "What?" And they're like, "How amazing that you guys stayed in full A." And I'm just like, people at home don't realise that, because they just, you know, we don't really get it because we're not a hockey nation, you know. And Germany is a massive football nation, a massive handball game, and hockey's big in Germany. You know, every town knows their hockey players when they're in there. And Great Britain, all the guys, all the boys, what they've done, the last 5 years, the 52 players, I think it is, every one of them was part of that. And I say that, and it's, and I believe that the players make coaches. Freiberg, Glasgow, all those teams, the players make the coach. There has to be some kind of connection, and the coach has to know kind of what he's doing, and he has to be a strong communicator and be a good guy. But players make coaches, and all those guys, what they've done for GB, all those players, I just think I take my hat off to them. It's been a crazy ride, like just a mad ride, just to be part of that. It's them, it's the players, man. It's no the things they do, the belief they have, it's ingrained. They never give up, and I just think it's that last game against France is exactly what that team has been about the last 5 years. We had 2 heartbreaks in gold medal games. So both games we probably dominated to win and couldn't score because we're not blessed with when it's not going our way for finding a way. And then we found a way. Then Hungary, we showed sensational. I thought they were sensational in Hungary, favourites to get relegated, and we won the gold. And then last year was just unbelievable. I just think the players are fantastic. I just love the spirit of a British hockey player. Okay, I know maybe that's a passionate thing. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's stupid of me, but I see it. I see them up against players that are more skilled and have had more development in them, and I see them going at them and playing with them. And I think the British player coming through as well. They're all better. The skating's getting better now for sure, and that's why we can compete. And I think that's been the most sensational ride ever. I've been very lucky the last 5 years, in hockey. I've only got thing here, by the way. It might run out.
Sorry, Ryan, have you seen any difference when you're recruiting players? I mean, perhaps they're more open to coming to the UK after the exploits at GB?
Oh, definitely. I think there's a lot of guys that saw what GB did and associated that with our league,
Yeah.
In there. But I want to go back to that game because I played with Jono. He was my line mate forever, and we were pretty tight when I was in Sheffield. And our ongoing joke was, and I think he was on my line every time I was there, but our ongoing joke would be like, Jono would just say, just put it, just let me chase the puck, put it in the corner and I'll chase it. And he was like that dog that never tired, that would always come back and you'd have to throw the ball. And then like 5 hours later, you're still throwing the ball for this dog. And you're like, hey, because he could just chase. And then I love the line you had. It was a defensive zone. I can't remember who the D-man was, but you had Jono and you had Ben Davies.
We just
shot it forward and Jono just chased it.
Yeah,
I just in my head, I could almost hear him like, just throw it out there. I'll go get it. Like,
oh, yeah,
I'll beat anybody to that puck. You don't ask me to do much after that, but I'll get it. And then boom, 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 game over. It was like, I was back in Canada. I think it was about 10 in the morning, and I just got up. I remember I just woke up, and I was at my folks' house. I think I had a coffee and watching that game, or I can't remember whether it doesn't matter. But, yeah, I think I had, like, a tear in my eye. I was so proud to be, like, British, even though I got a Canadian passport.
Working on that, though.
But, yeah, it was pretty cool, and especially to see, like, those two guys I played with. Played with Benny, Coach Benny. Played with Gianna, Coach Gianna. Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, just those two guys alone, just to have those two guys do it in overtime.
How did go back to your first year over in Germany, Pete? I mean, how did the cancellation come about over there, the season coming to a close?
No, I'd been back for 6 days at home because there's a break between the playoffs. We finish in the top 6. And I came back on a Tuesday morning and we're going to start skating and we weren't going to play to the Friday after. And then the Tuesday afternoon, they told us it was going to be done. So then they just took everybody in a room on a Wednesday and said, you've got 6 weeks in your contract, you get paid. You can go home when you feel you want to go home. You got to check the houses out. And basically I said, I just come out of there. I think I went for my first beer with the boys then. Never did a beer all year with them. Went out, had a good bit of time because we never got to celebrate how well we'd done because that was a bottom-end budget team that came third in a really good league. And went out and that was a Wednesday morning, or Wednesday afternoon probably I got up. So I got up and I remember calling the office and saying, can you book me I first asked the car guy, can I take my car? He said, yes. I said, I need to go home if this is how it's going to be back to my house. And Thursday night I left and I drove home. That was it. 3 days, boom, straight out of there and I was gone. I took everything in the car. and I got out of there as quick as I could and came home because I realised it wasn't really the way they were talking over there it wasn't great. Do you know what I mean?
No. I mean, you've signed a contract. You're going back again next year. When was that discussed? Was that pre or post the shutdown?
I signed a multi-year deal
Right.
after being there 10 weeks. I had a contract. They offered me a new one, and different way of dealing over there. It doesn't matter. The ins and outs of it were great. The way it's a multi-year deal, and they it's fantastic. I like it. There's a great place to be. The players were amazing again. The players made the season. That's what I keep. And I'm not just being like players make the coach, and I managed to get them going, and they were fantastic, and they just rode the ship and kept it going. And I'm looking forward to going back. I think we have a better team next year on paper, but whether we can create that spirit is the most important thing, and that togetherness and that jam we had. I think that's important as well. Hopefully they've got that hunger again.
How does it work over there, Pete, for the recruitment side of things? Do you do the recruitment, or is there like a hockey operations?
We had a sports manager, and him and I done it. I had a massive part in the imports, so I think everybody would see. This year we've kept nearly 90% of the team, 85-90% of the team. So that's amazing to keep a team like that. It does well. We added 3 Germans. Which one was straight, but I was after the first minute I got there. I loved him, a Joe Nash called Jordan George, so we managed to get him. Half the league were after him. We got some good conversations. He came, and then we get 2 younger guys. Then we get another one this week. So Daniel Henrique's his name was. He was a really good sports manager. But they help you massively. Once it's done, they deal with everything. You just go away. You don't do contracts. You don't talk about money with them. You'll just talk to the player about the opportunity.
What's your roster size there? What do you guys play with?
Next year we have a 3, 7, and 13, and we have a partnership with a DL team, and they'll give us 3 players, probably 2, 3 players as well.
Yeah. So where do you go? 20-man roster, 21-man roster?
You go, 20-man roster. So it's if you want to use your 4 blocks, you have to play the 2 under 21 players in your structure. That's cool the way they do it. It's really cool because the kids play against the kids in the end anyway. The teams the way they do it. So it's basically that you'll have, I think it's 4 under 24s, 4 or 5, and then 2 under 21s if you want to have, and you've got to play them. They've got to be, if you only want to dress, you can't take an under 21 out and put an older guy in. They've got to fill those 6 spots first, and the rest of your team can be what they are before imports.
And for that partnership with the DEL side, is that something that's pre-arranged, or is it historical? Because obviously you do have promotion and relegation, don't you?
No, they do that in a lot of teams, but they've not had one for a while in Freiberg, and then we had a couple of teams interested after the full season was done, and we're taking one of them. I can't see who it is because they've not announced it yet, but it's great because I think last year with Cologne loaned us a 18-year-old kid, and he was brilliant. Like just this 18-year-old kid walks in, I don't know what I'm getting, and he's flying up and down ice, blocking shots. I was like, this is insane. He's 18, and you're just like, but he had been playing U20 and a bit in Bad Naumann and the DL2, and he'd been training with Cologne, and just these kids everywhere, and I was just like, but the difference is there's, we just need to try and one day get that in the UK, I hope, and we can sort, but the problem is it's not the Elite League's fault, it's not the EIHL's fault, it's below. There has to be more coming through, and the funny thing is where you guys are, they get a great junior program, so I'm sure in 6 years, 7 years, and all those little kids, when I run my hockey school there, maybe 5 years, whatever, there's some cracking little players coming through there, hopefully there's something for them to get a chance in.
It's worth mentioning, Ryan, that since you've come in, you and Jamie and Mikey and Nick Crawley have really tried to concentrate on that junior development as well.
Yeah, I mean, our name's on it, but all the hard work goes to the guys that were running it. Nick Crawley, Seth Bennett, Mikey Morin's out there every Tuesday and Thursday. Yeah, they got the Storm brand, but the hard work.
Keep talking. I'm going to just get a cable. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
All the hard work are down to what those guys are doing, the commitment they have to putting on good practices and organizing good games. And yeah, it's been hard for them to find good competition up and down this country because they are so good right now.
Pete, we had a few people would send some questions in for you. If you wouldn't mind, I'll just throw them over to you. Deck Ryan, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, He was just asking about how your mindsets changed and the strategies changed after you got those back-to-back goals. Perhaps trying to avoid relegation to realizing that there's a medal opportunity, and then it being in the top pool. How does it change again?
Never changed. We just kept playing the same way. We just decided that we'd have an identity and go with it. And Ryan will tell you, he watched the games. We never trapped. We forced aggressive with two guys everywhere, played crazy hockey. But the details were good. Our track was good. Our D-zone was good. With fantastic goaltending. But PP, except last, the biggest thing you learn going to Pool A is they're just so bloody good. Do you know what I mean? Those players, like, people were like, oh, PP's not as good. Of course it's not as good. In the league below where PP was good, and we got to Pool A, and it's just hard because they're just so bloody good. The goalies are so good, and we just played the same way. And I think I had this phrase before. It was Dare to Dream, and then it was peak end. In fact, it came from Nick Crawley. He was talking to me about something in business where peak end. He kept talking to me, and I was like, so I used it, and I kept saying, the peak end, we've got to just keep playing our way. We don't need to change anything. Let's just keep going. Let's keep getting better every game. France will keep losing as well, hopefully, and we'll play them at the end to try and stay up. And you're just trying to keep them. But the hardest thing that had to change was not getting negative.
Yeah.
Because and it wasn't just be happy with defeat. It was just try and keep them going. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a long trip. Like, that was a 5.5, 6 weeks group or something like that. It was insane. Usually you go for 2.5 weeks. It just lasted. It seemed to feel as if it was lasting forever. And then every second game we're getting banged with 6, 7 goals. It was hard as well to take. But of course, the way it kind of worked was okay because we played Canada, then we played America in between. And in between, we were a couple of close games, and we just knew, to see how good, if you could. Ryan knows he probably was, when he was younger, getting to be around players like that. But when you're coaching and watching some of the things they guys do, you're just like, this is just disgusting. They're just unbelievable. But I just think I just went with something. I adjust a lot with things, but I think there's a lot of in-game adjustments, but at times. But with that team, we just had the way of playing. And when you're in a short-term tournament, if you keep switching and moving and changing all the time, you just get yourself into all sorts of trouble. It's different in a season, it's different. And I think if we just sat back and waited, it would have been just a disaster for us. I think we had to try and be proactive up the ice and try and turn pucks over higher up the ice so it's quicker to the net and things like that. And we just stayed with it. We just say, you know what? Just go with it and play our way. Let's just play our way. And you know what? The fun thing is, it worked for us. And it makes me smile because, I just loved that you could be 3-0 down, and the experiences before helped us get that because they knew there was a chance. It's amazing when you have a good experience, how you can use that to inspire yourself at a bad time to get out of something.
Ryan, how far has this GB side come since you've been playing hockey in this country?
You're on here for 10, 12 years. The biggest thing for me is how much better we are. We can skate with these guys now. Before we couldn't always skate with them, so we were in the penalty box the whole time. There'd just be penalty after penalty after penalty, and you start taking penalties against teams like Canada, US. I mean, you see how good they move the puck. It's game over before you even get going. And I just when we watched it, I just felt like we could skate with these guys, which a lot of like Pete said, they want to put pressure up ice, allowed them to get up ice and put some pressure, but also eliminated all those kind of hooking, holding penalties that we used to take because we were always seemed to step a step or two behind. And then at that level, they'll call 10 in a row on you. They don't care if one side of the sheet shows 20 minor penalties, the other one has 1. They call the game as it is. They don't ref the score. So, I think that was a big thing watching it on TV is how well our guys skated and competed against even the top, even the cream of the crop, the US and the Canadas. And, I think that's come a long ways. And like we talked about earlier, I think skating in this game now, we got a way more importance on skating than toughness, where before maybe it was the other way around, physical and tough and big. Now we're looking more speed and skill.
How much do you think the exposure to the Champions Hockey League has perhaps helped that as well?
I think the Elite League in a whole, I get carved for saying this, and I'll say it. I'm not a liar. I think the Elite League has helped the national team, because I think the Elite League, the best players are getting to play against and train against really good players every day, and it's helped them become better players. And I really believe that, because I think the Elite League has got better in the last 6-7 years as well. I think it's became the standards went way up, and I think there's just more structured probably from watching it before a little bit. And I think a lot of these other the older players have stayed in it, and they became top players. And I think some younger guys have come in, and I think it's. I think the Champions League is for exposure to see how good those teams are. It's good for them. I'm pretty sure some of those teams playing in the Champions League some nights feel like the GB team playing against Canada, though. Do you know what I mean? Like some of those games I watched, and those teams were, when they were having a tougher night, when it wasn't just as tight on the road or something like that. Like, those teams are high end. They're good hockey teams. Like Ryan's been in it. Like if those teams decide they want to play, you could be in one pretty quick. The same way. But I just think the Elite League is really. I asked this constantly last season. How's this league compared to the Elite League? And my answer was the Elite League's better. Whether I agree, whether I think the German league's the way to structure it, as in the rosters, I think I like that because I'm British. Do you know what I mean? But could we do that straight away? No, we're not at that stage of development to do that yet. But I think the Elite League is a better standard of hockey than people from outside the UK think it is.
One of the sensitive subjects that always comes up when talking about Team GB, and we spoke to Trevor Johnson last week. I don't know if you had a chance to see that, Pete. Obviously, he was a dual national. He played for Italy. He's getting that balance right between having import-eligible guys coming in and strengthening the GB squad. And that seems to have changed a little bit over the year. How do you get that balance right?
When I got asked a question the first year that I became the coach, when I didn't even want to do it, they asked me the question and they said, "Are you going to pick dual nationals?" And I said, "Well, am I going to pick a player with a British passport?" And they went, "Yeah," because, "Well, that's different from calling him a dual national. If that player is going to be a top player and make the team better, yes, I'm going to pick him." Mm-hmm. And they said, "What do you mean?" I go, "I'm going to pick him. If he's going to make the team better and he can play and he's a good person, he fits into the group and the way we are, it's what we're looking for, and the mindset and the attitude, yeah, of course we're going to pick him if he's better." But would I just fill the team with just anybody? I don't think we have to. I think Ryan's just said it. I think we have great players. We have good players. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? But if a top guy comes in and it makes a difference, like when we got to use Mosey, Dallas has done a great job. Travis come in, but D's probably an area that in our country we have to develop a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? But maybe that's down to maybe this is not country, but it's when there's only one D spot in each team. It's hard, do you know, and it is hard. That's the way it is. You know, it's hard for a D man to keep getting better. But I think nobody wants to play D as kids anyway. They all want to be centres and they all want to score goals. Do you know what I mean? So they don't realise the importance of it. I just think that for me, that's the biggest thing. That if they're better, like Brendan Conley, who wouldn't pick Brendan Conley to play in their team? Does he work hard? Yes. Was he disciplined when he played with GB? Yes. Was he disciplined in Glasgow? 90% of the time, 95% of the time. Why wouldn't I pick Brendan Conley? He's a stud. Do you know what I mean? And he wants to play, and he's got a heart the size of his chest. Do you know what I mean? And you need that. You know, I think if you can add that type of player, and you know, there's a load of them. Like I don't look at. I remember watching Brett Pellini as a kid and his brother playing in Guildford because I coached kids at that time. I knew his dad, Fred, and I don't look at Brett as a dual national. I look at him, he's English. He was playing as a kid over here, do you know? And it's the Whistle boys. Like I remember Jackson Whistle becoming a goalie in Cardiff, and his dad coached there. I remember it all, and you know, and it's like, yeah, they speak with an accent. Scott Conway played in Hull till he was 13 years old. You know, you go through the guys we brought in, and it's like I just think, you know, it's there's a player in the national team said something to me. And should I say his name? No, I'm not going to say his name. That's not fair. And he said to me, "The age I'm at, somebody should have came and took my spot by now. And I will come here as long as you want me to come." That's what he said to me. But somebody should have took my spot, and I expect somebody to take my spot, but they haven't yet. So they've got to up their game to come and take it, and I'm going to keep coming. And that's what he said to me.
Are there any other guys out there you guys have identified that could qualify? Or any other like?
Well, there's every year there's more now, Ryan. And you know, there's more and more, and I think it's like, you know, when you lose. When you lose,
we got Critchlow is a 2-year guy.
Yeah, he's after this year he becomes available. There's another one somewhere. You know, there's players all the time, but it's just like, you know, we've been very lucky. A lot of the same players kept going, and then we lost a guy and we changed a guy into the group and tried to keep the nucleus of the core together to try and keep that feeling going, and it worked for us. You know, so kind of when Colin Shields retired, maybe Brendan Conley took his spot, to be honest, you know, and that was kind of him taking a spot in the team. I think, like, when you look down the lineup, you know, it's when you come to the third and fourth lines, there's some pretty good two-way hockey players in there, especially defensively. So we're pretty strong in those areas, you know. And but I think every year that comes up, I know that kid you're talking, he's a New Brunswick kid, isn't he? Yeah, that's the Creechel kid, isn't he? He played New Brunswick, University of New Brunswick, didn't he?
Yeah,
that kid you're talking about. Yeah, I've seen him before. Yeah, but there's every year Andy Buxton has a list and he sends it to me, and I watch them. Like last year, I watched probably a lot more than I ever did because Saturday nights we never played. So I used to just stream the games. They gave me all the codes, and I watched all the games, and I watched a lot of players. That's probably the hardest part of it.
I'm always amazed that I always get these, and they're never really agents. I get Frank Morris as a guy, for example, and he'll come up with 3 or 4 guys that are British nationals playing over in Canada.
Yeah.
Either in junior A or, you know, and say, hey, like you say, hey, have a look at this kid, this goalie, he's from down south somewhere. And I'm amazed at how many kids there are out there that went out at an early age and just, you know, either living with family or their parents immigrated out there when they turned 5, 6, 10, whatever it is. But would qualify as they're British, you know, they are British nationals. They're born here, you know, their parents are over there, or some of them are over there with family just going to school. You know,
yeah.
I'm always amazed at, like, I've never heard of any of these kids, you know, there's so many many.
Loads. There was a time when a lot went, but it's quite funny when you look at where some guys, there was a couple of goalie going about with a high-end goalie, I can't remember what his name was, and he was born in Scarborough. He played in the KHL and he played everywhere else. And I remember typing his name in and going, this guy's got a British flag. You know, and I was like, well, why did he end up over there? Maybe his family was in, I don't know, the army or something, the armed forces, and he lived here or something.
Exactly what you're talking about. I just can't think of his name right now.
There was Matt Murray, wasn't there? He's got a little Scottish flag on the back of his helmet.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. It was but it's. I think again the players. I think what they've done is amazing. I think guys like Andy Buxton and that are just amazing what they do and keep it all going. Coaching, it's easy. You know, the toughest part's telling guys they're not going to go. You know, I don't like that ever. And there's always people have a dig at you. You don't like the guy. You don't do this. And it's never like that.
Have you noticed a change in that, Pete? Because obviously there was a couple of years when Longer didn't make the team. He had that injury, and there was obviously a lot of upset Storm fans. Has that become a bit more of a regular thing? But surely that's got to be a good thing, because it just shows the competition.
Yeah, there's mass competition, and you know, like that was a tough one. It's I think the easiest way to, when you put a team together, is, and Ryan will get this because he's a coach, and educating people of when you're picking someone, you're picking a player, and if you pick a player, he's got to be in his seat. Does that make sense? On the bus, he's got to be what he's going to be able to do that job. Now, if you're going to go through those people and you have a top 6, say, and then you've got your bottom 6 because you've got your 4 blocks going, you know, it's not worth taking someone that can't do that job that Jonah Phillips can do, or someone that can't put Robert Dowd out the team, or someone that can't put Hammond out a team. You know, and that was a really tough one. There's been more than Kieran, you know. And the toughest part of the thing is we sit and you know, the 3 of us talk about it and we watch, and everybody will say what they think about each player, and usually we're not far away from each other. Do you know what I mean? Usually it's just. Hey, if I was sitting outside, I'd be going, I'd be picking this guy if I was in that team. You know, you're sitting like everybody is having a beer. If the 3 of us sat and said, who are we going to pick, and we weren't coaching a team, you know, you'd be. But the toughest part is, it's, you know, and I said this before, it's like, you don't like someone, or you've not treated them right, or you've not, whoa, come on. No coach in the world is not going to take a player. He's even going to have a player around him, and for 3 weeks before that, if he doesn't like him, for a start, or doesn't like his attitude, doesn't believe in him, they're going to bring somebody else to believe in. And the other thing is, it's just tough, man. It's the toughest. Like, you know what they don't believe about GB? No one gets paid. Right? We all do it for the love for the game. No one. Okay? We get nothing. We get X amount each day, and it's not a lot of money. And we don't do it for the money. Players and coaches, all the staff, everybody. Not a penny. And that's the hardest part, that, you know, you're giving everything, and sometimes people say things, but you know what? It's a small minority, and it's great that what you said, there's a mass competition for some areas now, and I'm sure the day's going to come for all those players, you know, because there'll be a turnaround at some point, because there's some older guys, and the team's definitely turning around. But I think majority of the picks we've made have not been wrong, but the biggest thing is it's not about the one or two picks, it's about the end product of what happens. And the last 5 years, I think there's been a great end product, and everybody should be proud of everybody who's been involved. You know what I mean? And you know, it's hard to keep everybody happy. I'd love to keep everybody happy, but it's not really possible.
Yeah, I think a good comparison would be like when Team Canada, when they chose their Olympic team back in, I think it was Sochi. That was the last Olympics, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The last Olympics, wherever it was. And obviously they got this pool of players they can choose from. And when the roster came out, there was a lot of guys on that roster that people went, "Are you kidding me? Like him? Why not him? Him not?" You know. But once you get outside of your top six and you start moving down your depth, you know, a circle doesn't fit into a square piece. And if I need a fourth line guy that's good on faceoffs, that's good in the D zone, that can skate penalties against line one, then that's not going to be your 45 goal guy out of Detroit. I'm looking at, you know, Patrick Sharp out of Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not, and I think that's where he's trying to say is that I may not see this guy in my top six, which means he's in a lot of trouble to get in my bottom six. He had a better chance.
That's exactly it.
And even for us, you know, we're always looking, like last year we struggled offensively, but we were real good defensively. We just wish we had a little more offense, you know, but every guy doesn't, you know, I can't play a Cody Thompson, who's a real hustle and bustle kind of guy, really good on the PK. I can't pair him up with Allen and expect them to have a lot of chemistry.
Yeah.
You know, like certain guys play with certain guys, and then these lines that are ultimately the guys that win you, Jonathan Phillips, Ben Davies scoring game-winning goals from a D zone faceoff. You know, and I think a lot of fans don't get that. Not maybe don't get it, but maybe just look at it from, you know, they're fans. They're fans of Kieran Long in Manchester, had a lot of support.
Yeah, it's an insight. And you know what? Maybe some people don't talk about it openly enough like that, because you never get the chances. Maybe, you know, I done an interview the other day and I said the same thing. I said it's the hardest part is that, and it's just people understanding why and not how. Does that make sense? It's you know, I think what you said there is true. You know, it's got to be the right seat. You know, you're either an apple and orange. Do you know what I mean? And it's I
can't remember. One of the it was like the assistant or 15th assistant coach in Canada said, "Well, if I was picking a street hockey team, he would have been on it." Unfortunately, we're not playing on my dad's driveway. We're going into Russia, and he said, "This is the guy that I need in Russia, whether he plays 3 minutes a night or 30 minutes." You know, and yeah, because it is true. I mean, when you're in the hot seat, everybody's asking questions, and you know that's what the beauty of social media is. One guy makes all the decisions, and then the other 3 billion question it.
Yeah, 100%.
Pete would like this one. It's a bit like Alf Ramsey with Jimmy Greaves in 1966.
For sure. That was only 8 years before I was born. Yeah, I think it's all over.
Yeah. I hate to bring it back to present day with the way things are at the moment. Another question coming from Storm Fanatic. If next year's season gets cancelled, what will the repercussions be on Team GB? I said one of those crystal ball questions. It doesn't really bear thinking about, does it?
I think that's not even a thought just now. I think the biggest thing is this. You know what's really funny? I had to take a parcel over to my brother-in-law, who's not seen anybody for 6 weeks. We've not seen anybody. So I had to go over and kind of drop it outside the house, like 2 meters. And as I stood back about 2.5, 3 meters with a mask on, he came to the door with his niece. Oh, sorry, my niece, who's 1, all right? And she didn't even know me.
Crazy.
And she was turning away. And I was thinking to myself, I'm worried about, is my hockey season going to start? We should be worried about getting back to some normality in this world and getting to see people we've not seen. And, you know, and I think the first thing is people like Ryan and Jamie that own a hockey team, that getting that hockey team back in their business going and getting that team back in the ice first before we start thinking about next April or May. Because, I mean, if seasons don't start in time and they start late, how long are they going to last? Are they going to run late? If there's no season, no one's training, you know, like, and I think it's just taking baby steps. I think it's a really uncertain time, and you know, and I'm dying to go back. Like, I'm dying to start again to see if I can do it again. So I can't wait. You know, like, I love ice hockey, and you know, and I'm dying to coach GB again. I love coaching GB. It's been amazing. I've done it for 19 years. Took 2 years off. Like, I don't know if I'm mentally insane, whatever, but it's a long time, a big part of my life. But it's been amazing for me. I've met some unbelievable people through it. I've had some great experience. It's made me a better coach and a better person. I've been backed, good or bad. But, you know, I love Pool A. Was the most amazing experience, the most tiresome experience, if that's the right word. Not stressed, just tired and just long. But wow, that feeling in the last day was amazing. Would I love to go and try and do it again? 100%. But I'm more concerned that we get everything back to normal for kids and older people and everything first, and then get schools going, and then try and get the hockey seasons going for everybody as well, and then we can kick on for there. But it's you know, I've stopped reading stuff about it because it's overpowering now, and I'm just hoping that we get our way out of this. Do you know what I mean? Because I worry more if it doesn't start. Are we going to have some things again? That's what I worry about.
On a similar vein, I don't really want to labour the point. You explained quite clearly there. But are there any positives we can take away from the championships being cancelled this year, bearing in mind that we had Belarus in our pool with no relegation to them?
Well, I think the positives are that 250,000 people didn't swarm into Slovakia at the wrong time when this thing was going on. That's the first thing.
Switzerland, sorry.
Switzerland. Yeah, the second thing is that was been a listen. To win one game is an absolutely crazy task. To win two would had to have been something ridiculous to win two. So that way of things thinking, yeah. And the other thing is, we've been in Pool A for 3 years now. So,
yeah.
3
Most
years.
successful British coach in history.
Fennell's going to be signing players off the back of that. 3 years this team have been in Pool A. This country's well up the level.
Pretty much a mainstay up there now.
If Great Britain are a legitimate Pool A nation now.
You're going to France? What are they, in the sea pool? What is it?
Yeah. They must be spitting feathers, the French, eh?
That's a tough one for them.
Well, Pete, that brings me to pretty much everything I've got written down here. Finn, have you got anything else you want to bring up with Pete whilst we got him?
Who do you think who was the best player last year at the World Championships that you that you played against?
Oh, that we played against?
Yeah, from the bench side.
That Finnish kid was good, the young kid.
Capo.
His name.
Kappa?
Who?
Capo.
Yeah, he was.
Capo?
He was dusty. He was really good. Canada was stacked with talent. Like, they were all good. Like, they could just. But that young kid, he was amazing. I thought he was amazing. That Finnish kid. I thought he was great to watch at ice level. And I thought Patrick Keynes was good to watch. Like, just the way he moved everywhere, and you know, so many chances against us, and Bouncy did a great game. It's the little things that I've never experienced before, like how quick they turn, how they buy themselves that other 1 or 2 seconds, how they can. You used to talk about, we'll track hard down the wall, and players, if they make sauce to the back door, they could make sauce to the back door, but let's not track down there, let's come tight into the house. Like, you know, you're trying to adjust small details within the system to make it work for everybody. I just think that it's just, you know, they're just, the way they can do things at speed is the biggest thing. Like, they do everything fast, and they can do it at full speed. The way they think, the way they move the puck, it's just insane. Like, it was an insane experience. Like, I never thought someone from Ayr in Scotland would be coaching a GB national team in Pool A. That was never ever in my in the story. I don't know how that happened. Like, I still just think, what is that? You know, and it's the same in any coaching now. Like, I really love it more than ever just now, and that's why I'm determined to try and do it as long as I can. club hockey as well. Like I think we're really, really lucky what we do. Do you know what I mean? I think it's. I probably didn't really. I probably took it for granted when I first started doing it, and I didn't behave well enough at times, and I know that. Probably pissed a lot of people off at times, but now I think I'm a little bit of a better person now, Ryan. Like smarter and more behaved, and trying to be more, but just being me still. I'm still kind of, what I am. I'm not going to change.
To be fair, I mean, we briefly met up in Copenhagen a couple of years ago, and I can remember having the conversation.
That was a great day out, though, wasn't it?
It was. And I can remember having a conversation with Ryan on the train going to the stadium one day, and Ryan just said, all GB have got to do is win one game against the French. He called it then.
Yeah.
Made it sound a little bit easier than it was.
Honestly, I keep going back to it. See people like Andy Buxton, Taff, Andrew French, Nicky Sherlock, the Doc. They've been there for years, these people. They've been there longer than Jonna. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've been there for so many years. And see when you come off and see those people in Smallsy up with tears in their eyes. Like, that to me is what it's all about. It's just looking at them and going, good for you, do you know? Because they've got memories that they'll never take away, do you know? And it's, I always say to players, like, you want memories. When you have memories, good memories, you do well. And it's like, let's make memories. And I think there's been some amazing memories with GB that I honestly, I just, when I even think about it, it makes me feel a bit funny still. And that's a nice thing to have in your heart. Do you know what I mean?
100%. So, anything else there, Ryan?
No, I think we're good. I can't think of too much more. Obviously, I wish we would have played Canada last night, right? You guys, a game was.
Yeah, we'd have been playing Canada last night.
Wow,
how mad's that?
Probably a win, an overtime win today. You'd be just cutting video of an overtime win.
Just be, but they'd probably get an overtime win. Sunk a few beers last night in the hotel, quietly cutting video.
Dallas with the OT end to end.
I would like to have seen, like people of the UK, to see how good their players are. I'd love them to see this. Is how good this is. Watch this.
And any fan watching this, obviously, hopefully we all get back to normality next year. Where is it next year? In Belarus?
It's in Belarus. I think I've heard it's there.
They'll for sure be playing in Belarus next year. They didn't. I don't even think they shut down this year, did they?
No, they were still going ahead.
They're in the finals. But any fan, like Packer and I, we met up in Copenhagen a couple of years ago, and I've been around hockey my whole life. But we had an unbelievable time just being around the whole World Championships. If any fans are watching this, Manchester fans or whoever, if you guys could go, I mean, it is a great event.
Oh, it's an eye opener, isn't it?
It's an
awesome
just
the way
event.
to do it.
And I mean, for a guy that coached his whole life and just to be a fan, it was so much fun. Just to be a fan and watch from the stands, and yeah, it was awesome. We wanted to go to Switzerland. We were talking about it, weren't we, Pat?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the beer is going to be a bit cheaper in Latvia and Belarus, though. Huh?
Yeah, you're going to probably save a few euros, I think, at that point. I think,
definitely. We'll get out there.
I had to go to Switzerland to pick somebody up one day in the airport, a player, and I picked him up, and I went and got a coffee, and it was €8.25. And I went straight in the phone and phoned Andy Buxton and said, "Do you know, I've just paid €8 for a coffee?" And he's like, "What?" I goes, "This is going to be extortionate over here for 3.5 weeks."
Just giving you a heads up with the expenses sheet about to come in.
Yeah, but that's awesome, man. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for giving up your time for us here.
Anytime.
No, thank you so much, Pete. Thanks for being so honest and open as you always are. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully I said good things. I never said anything wrong.
No, not at all. And I really hope you manage to make the most of your summer and a bit of family time and you enjoy that.
All right. Thank you. See you guys.
Thanks now. Cheers.
All the best. Ciao.
Ciao.
A huge thanks to Pete Russell for joining us. It was very honest and I really appreciate him taking the time there. Ryan, just a couple of things to box off before we end this one. Designer jersey competition. I think that's closed now. You've got all your entrants in and we'll be going through them shortly to get the voting underway, I guess, soon.
Yeah, I think Liam's on that right now. And, actually I haven't seen, I've seen a few on Twitter and stuff, but I haven't seen the final one. So that'll be kind of interesting and cool and kind of sweet for whoever did design it and want it to see the boys wearing their design jersey, which is what it's all about.
Yeah.
I think that's it's a unique thing, and the fact that it's not going to be worn as a one-off, we're going to kind of incorporate it as a third jersey and at home only. And yeah, I think that that's kind of a neat thing, and hopefully the fans like it and are receptive to it, and we just something that we can maybe do every year just for some fun.
Another bit of news that came out of the club last week, I meant to mention it at the last show we did, but we got sort of went off a little bit with old Eric joining us. Season ticket, the club have extended the early bird extension to the 30th of June, and current season ticket holders have until the 31st of May now to save their seat.
Yeah, and I think it's just more about prolonging as much as we can. We want it to be, we understand the situation, everybody's we're all in it, and there's a lot more questions and answers, and with the way that the COVID-19 is going. So we are aware that there are a lot of season ticket holders that have emailed in and want to be a part of it, but at the same time are being cautious. So hopefully by extending it, they can get some clarity. Hopefully it all works out and they can join back up and save their seats. So that was kind of the mindset behind it, was just trying to give our fan base more time, because this is a situation that we've never seen before, and we are kind of day to day, because there is no rule book. We are trying to assess, and things are changing. Week to week things are changing. So we just want to make sure that we do right by our fans and give them the right amount of time, and especially our existing season ticket holders that haven't yet renewed. And hopefully, by extending it, we can get them back in the building and they can feel comfortable with their purchase.
Speaking of this crazy world we're living in, fantastic to see the club reach out and put some billboard thank you messages around the city to the NHS workers and key workers. That was fantastic to see, Ryan.
Yeah, that was really cool, and and it's all Liam. Liam stayed in contact with that company, and I know they were looking at doing some cross stuff during the year that never really materialized for whatever reason, and then. Just the option came, and we felt it was the right thing to do. And, they kind of helped us get it on there, and then helped us get it on a few more. So yeah, it's great. It's always good to have that presence. And, anytime that anybody can see it on the way to work and going to a hospital and can feel some satisfaction from it, then that's great. And it's great for the club to be able to do that, especially, the current times.
And another feel-good story, Dave Fairbrother, shout out to him. One people that might not be aware, he's one of our match night stewards, and he's doing, I said 8K a day, but he's doing 9K a day in full hockey gear every day during the lockdown. I think he's on day 16, up to 150 kilometers for mental health awareness charity Patch Amnesty. Some effort, especially considering how warm it's been.
I know, and it doesn't look comfortable, I can tell you that. I mean, I grew up and lived in that equipment. It's not easy, and you mix it in with the heat, and then I'm sure he got in the rain and the wind, and yeah. So I mean, what a great effort on his part, and we're so proud to back him and be behind him, and especially as one of our stewards, I hope our fan base can give him some support, whether it's financial or just some good old social media support, keep him going here, and it's a heck of a thing to do. Great
to see our sponsors, Dizzy Fish, as well, really pushing Dave and his social media posts and stuff. They've been involved quite heavily as well.
Yeah, our sponsors have been incredible behind the scenes. The support we're getting from them, and the commitments that we're getting from them, as well as when we do get back is real nice, because it's a scary time, obviously, for everyone in our club. And and then you got guys like Dave, who I've known for a number of years, and he's kind of fallen in love with Manchester and everything here. So it's great to see him continue to support from Glasgow in the north there. So he's a little ways away, and he's not in Manchester, so it's good to see him continue to support us.
Well, thanks for your time, Ryan. Appreciate it. I hope you're bearing up at home, and we'll maybe have another one. I don't know. You've been reaching out to a few guys to see what we can do. But again, thanks to Pete Russell, who's a real good money's worth, I think.
Absolutely. As long as there's still an appetite and we're not getting too annoying, and we'll continue trying to bring some content through these dog days of summer, and hopefully as it goes on, we get released back into society slowly and safely.
Yeah, we can disappear then. Okay, thanks guys. Take it easy and stay safe at home. Cheers.
Okay, take care, fans. Bye.
Bye.